Welcome back to Essen Spiel 2017. I'm here with great designer Uwe Rosenberg. Welcome to our show.
Welcome. Yes, nice to be here.
So you've had a very busy year, a lot of new games coming out this year.
Yeah, a busy year, maybe a lot of kids I have. This is the reason. No, I don't work very much this year. I lived with my family, and in the next months I will start again to work on games. What I don't make so much is working on games that have many parameters, many numbers where I have, is it a 2 or is it a 3? Because this is hard. When you have the game in a nearly final version, then you want to change something. Everything's changed, because in my games everything has to do with everything else. And so I made many tile placing games, and they are easy to play, and they are a little bit more easy to make.
Yeah, I mean, first you released Patchwork, then Cottage Garden, and now Indian Summer. And how do you feel the differences are as you made each one?
The main differences are that Cottage Garden is easy to play, and Indian Summer should be a real gamer's game. But we want to have the real normal people to play it, so we have the same artwork like Cottage Garden. If it works, we will see. I think the gamers will prefer Indian Summer to Cottage Garden. I'm nearly sure. But it's really important for me what the normal people think. Is it too hard for them? And I will see, and I will learn from it. And then it depends on it how I work in the future. But Indian Summer is... I will see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I played it this week and I really liked it. The filling up your zones, getting the bonus tokens. It's a well-made game and fits in your tile laying game catalog.
Okay, I think when you play it 10 times in the 10th game, you will getting better in this game. Because there are some things that you can see. But I don't want to talk about this, especially because the people should explore it. Yeah. So,
you also have some expansions for your worker placement games. You have Fields of Arle expansion now.
Yeah, this is a real expansion. It's for 3 players now, and this is interesting. The normal game was for 3 players too, as I developed it. But there are some facts. One fact is that's a very expensive game because of the lots of components. The next fact is that games that are for up to 3 players, they will seen as a 3-player game. But Fields of Arle is better with 2 players than 3 players. And we make the game in German with our own money. We are not a big company. So it was too much risk to make it as a 3 game. So we said we make it only with 2 players. Another reason is the rule with the summer and the winter. When you in the summer make a winter action, it's only 1 time possible in the game. Then I am the next start player. The other player is the start player. Yeah, but what to do in the 3-player play? Who is the other players? There are 2 other players. Also, this rule is better in a 2-player game. And these were all the costs. When 3 players, we need more components. The game would be more expensive. It was nearly €50, and then it would be €60. And 2 years ago, this was hard to think about that. These are all the reasons why we make Fields of Arle with two players. And now with the expansion, we can say, okay, it's with 3 players, a good game, and it's not too much downtime. And then you can ask, why is Fields of Arle not a 4-player game? And the reason is there is the components of the game not so important. Then the game might be €70 perhaps. With a 4-player game, it's not so important. There are so many people who want 4-player games. Then we would have made it with 4 players, but with 4 players, it's too much downtime for me. I don't think that we will have an expansion in the future with 4 players. But it's an idea for me to break it down, to make it more easier, and then for 4 players, the main aspect on the game for me is the traveling. That you have something where you can travel with, and these are things you can do. This is the main aspect of the game, and I see a chance to isolate this aspect and make a new game from that. We will see.
No, it sounds interesting that you went from 3, brought it down to 2, and then brought it back up to 3 now with the T expansion.
With the expansions, this is no problem. No? This is expansion. You cannot sell so much from an expansion. This is for sure. And an expansion has not so much costs and risk. Yeah, this is.
So you have another new game out with your Lookout line, Nusfjord. I hope I'm saying that right. In the first day, I talked to a Norwegian, and I forget to ask him was this the right pronouncing, and now I know it too. Don't know it too. Yeah. What is your question to the game? So, for those I haven't played it yet, tell us a little bit about it. Obviously, it's one of your worker placement style games, but which game is it similar to in your line, and how would you describe it?
It is similar to all the games, perhaps the most to Agricola. It's everything is a little bit more easy, and it flows. You can play it fast, but once again, there are many components that are depending on each other. And I think this is a special thing on this game. It's easy, but there are so many things that depends on each other. And it's not easy to make such a game. That the game feels easy when you play it. And so I'm a little bit proud of this game, how I developed it. And so what would you like to ask?
So I was told, and I don't know, but there's like a market element or a stock element in it.
Yeah, that's right. And the first thing on this game was that I got a telephone call from Occupy Money. So this is a part of the Occupy people. And if it is possible that I make a game about banking. And there were 2 telephone calls, long calls, where I learned a lot of banking. And it was clear for me that I don't make a game about banks. I have to put it in another world. And I take the fishing theme because we have so many money in the world as we want. And we have so many fishes as we want in the ocean. Also, that fits for me and so I take this theme, and there are elder people in the game that was originally be the banker. There were shares of your company, for sure. This was a share, and when you get new shares, this is now exactly that how it is in the bank, and so it's not no more a bank critical game, because I developed the game so it makes fun. This is for me the most important thing, and the really critical things gone out of the game.
But it's still very interesting to combine a worker placement and put a stock component into it.
Yeah, okay, it's not so difficult to make this. Perhaps it was the first game to make it, but it was easy. There you have prices going up and down, and there's a component in the game where this is. And this is something what is very hard to make. You can take a card, go 3 fields up, go 3 fields down. This is easy, but this is it's hard to make it. This is only the players do it. The players want to go up, they want to go down. When you have such rules, then often you are always in the middle. When you go one field there, then it's more sense to go back than to go in the extremes. And it's very hard to find rules that the people want to go up and down. And I find one way to make it, and that's one reason, because I'm a little bit proud of this game.
So since last time we talked, Feast for Odin has been a big success for you.
Yeah, I think so.
I still find it fascinating that you were able to combine the worker placement, multi-stage worker placement, with the patchwork element in there.
Originally, it was the ideas from Agricola. In Agricola, you pay food, 2 foods, and you have sheep. You have things that you make to food, and then you put it to the bank. What I wanted to, when a sheep is so long, and wild boar is so long, and you put it in a row. It's more easier than in Agricola, and I thought this is better than Agricola, and so I thought, okay, try it in my Viking game. That was the first idea. But the next problem was, when you have a long tile, you only need some long tiles and you're finished. It's enough food. When you have a long tile and it's small, and you say that when it's the second tile of the same part, you have to put upstairs, then it's a good rule, because this tile has sense, and a 2.5 tile has a sense, and a 3 points, every tile has a sense. And when you have so many tiles just to feed your people, just to put it in a row, then I thought, is there another chance to do something with these tiles? And I think it's easy to think, okay, this was one dimension, put it in 2 dimension, and make a tile game of it. Yeah. After that, I thought, okay, perhaps I make some special tiles. They can be formed so and so, and and then I had the idea from patchwork. I had the idea to patchwork while thinking about Odin. And it was not the fact that I had a patchwork, and after that I put it in the Odin. That was not right. Patchwork was growing from Odin, and I never planned to make tile placing games. It's a way how it happens that I think about it. I said yes now.
No, it's a very interesting story because now you have your worker placement series and you have your tile laying series.
Yeah, that follows on this, and this fits very good to my life now, because with my small kids, it's very hard to make working placements. And this year I make many tile placing games, I think 5 or 6. And now we can see when we put which tile placing games to the market. What we do exactly, that's not clear in this stage yet. It depends on the success for an Indian summer also.
Yes. Now, you have one other kind of series, which I have to ask what you're working on, the Bonanza series. I got to play Sissibon recently and loved the twist on it. And I was just wondering what's next for Bonanza. Are you working on more?
No, I don't work on Bonanza at all. We have a plan to make a box with things who make it to the people easier to trade in other ways. The easiest thing is, give me 1 bean, I give you 1 bean. But in Bonanza, there are many ways possible. Perhaps I give you 1 bean and we wait 1 round, and after that you give me 1 bean back. And there are many people who don't have the idea that you can deal such this. And there are so many variants of deals that are possible. Maybe I give you 1 bean, and after, when you are in your move, you put 3 cards on it, and before you can do anything, I can take 1 or 2 beans. And you have no chance I can do that. This is one other thing, and we want to collect these ideas how you can trade and put it in one box. This is the idea of what we have now. And there's not a concrete rule, a concrete Bonanza with new rules I'm working on.
No, it sounds like you have some neat things coming out, and obviously more tile laying games. Maybe one day another worker placement.
Yeah, I've finished a worker placement yet, and the balancing is has not really made until now. Perhaps I give it to a group of real good players, and they make the balancing for me when I find a group. I think in the next 2 years I will not have a chance to do it. In this stage I don't know what's the next step on the game. What can I say about the game? There are streets, there are canals, also where ships on it, and there are rails. And when you have a field where you put a building on it, huh? So every field has 4 borders, and when you put on the border perhaps 3 streets, here a street, and here a street, and here a street, then you can write on the tile when there are 3 streets, then something happens. So first you put the trail, and after that you put the streets. So this is the main rule. But and then there are some variants on this rule, and so it gets a real game.
Yes, it sounds really interesting and very excited for the future. Very excited.
Yeah. I think this is the next big Rosenberg, not big in the sense of big success, but in the sense of wide.
Well, we're looking forward to it, and thank you so much for coming here today.
Yeah, thank you that I can be here.
Well, there we are. Great designer Uwe Rosenberg here at Essen Spiel 2017, and this has been the Dice Tower bringing you another interview.